Welcome to the Cooking with Friends program. Today we are going to be making Italian spinach meatloaf. To get started with this, we have to make the flavoring for our meatloaf. We're going to start with 1/3 cup of olive oil, and we are going to heat this in a pan until it gets fairly warm. Once it gets warm, or as it's getting warm, we're going to put in 1 cup of onion. I know this might sound a little odd, but it's going to be really good, I promise. We're going to put 1 cup of onion, 4 cloves of garlic that have been cut. Again, you can chop it yourself, or you can buy the pre-chopped. And to that, we're going to add some spices. We're going to add basil, oregano, crushed red pepper, and thyme. So some really great flavors that you find in Italian cooking. And what we're going to do here is just kind of mix this all together, and we're going to let this cook for close to 20 minutes. We want it to cook nice and slow and really flavor infuse the oil and get those onions nice and tender. So we're going to stop for just a few minutes, and when we come back, we will show you how to proceed on making this Italian style meatloaf. We're going to move on to our next step for our Italian style spinach meatloaf. We have 10 ounces of spinach that we are going, that has been thawed out, and it's frozen spinach that we're going to put into this bowl here lined with a towel. The reason why is spinach is very has a lot of water in it, and we need to get that out before we add it to our oil mixture. So I find the best way is to take a kitchen towel and just squeeze out all that water out of the spinach. So it doesn't take very much. You would just need to make sure your spinach is thawed. You can thaw it in the fridge overnight, or you can put it in the microwave if need be. So what we're going to do now, our oil mixture has cooked, is we're just going to take this spinach mixture and crumble into our oil, and using the spatula, just kind of break it up and just kind of let this set in here for about 5 minutes and get heated up. And we're going to let this cook for about 5 or 6 minutes, and then what we're going to do is take this mixture, put it in a bowl. You can either set it aside or put it into the fridge and let it cool. If you do put it in the fridge, since this is oil based, just be sure you keep it on it. You don't want it to get where it's solidified and hard. You just need to cool it down so you don't cook your meat when you add it to it. So we're going to get this cooled down, and we'll finish it up when we come right back. Okay, we've got our mixture of our oil, onion, garlic, spices, and spinach all cooled down. So now we're ready to kind of mix up our meatloaf. The recipe calls for ground beef. However, today we're going to be using ground turkey and turkey Italian sweet sausage. You can use ground beef. You can use any type of ground meat that you think this recipe would work with. So the recipe has you mixing it. I find it a lot easier to use my stand mixer with the paddle attachment to kind of mix all this meat up, and a little less messy in my house. So we've got our 3 pounds of meat, 2 pounds of just ground turkey, and 1 pound of our sausage, which I'm using turkey sausage. We have 3 eggs we're going to put in here, and then we're going to put our oil, egg, and spice and spinach mixture, and we're just going to put that all down in here. Make sure we get all that, because this is the flavoring for our meatloaf. Okay, now we're just going to mix up our meatloaf. I just turned the mixer on low and just mix it, because you don't want to over mix your meatloaf, just until everything is combined. And I think that will do it. And again, like I said, you don't have to use turkey. The recipe calls for ground beef. You can use whatever ground meat product that you like, that you think this will work with. So what we're going to do is just kind of finish making sure everything on the bottom is combined. We're going to do a little bit of cleanup, and when we come back, I'll show you how to get it ready for the freezer. Now that we have our Italian style spinach meatloaf all mixed up, it's time to get it ready for the freezer. What you need to do is, this meatloaf makes 2 meatloaves. So you just need to divide it in half. I kind of smooth it out in the bottom of my bowl and just kind of scoop out half of it. Now I have plastic wrap lined right down here, and what I'm doing is just going to scoop up half the meatloaf and kind of form our meatloaf into kind of a loaf shape. On our plastic wrap, you can make it long or narrow or however you want to. And I'm just going to fold over the plastic wrap. And then I'm going to take it, and I have another piece right here that I'll just slide down, and I'm going to double wrap it in plastic wrap. I find this doesn't take up as much space than putting it in a casserole dish in my house or in my freezer than if I did otherwise. I'm then going to take a freezer Ziploc bag once this is all done up and just slide it in it. When it's time to cook it, I'm going to pull it out and thaw it in the fridge. And the day of cooking, you're going to heat your oven to 375, and it's going to cook for about an hour and a half. So you need to make sure you plan ahead for this one. And you will serve this with, if you have any jarred marinara or pizza sauce, you can definitely serve it on top of. I like to serve it with just a simple marinara sauce and spaghetti and serve the meatloaf on top of. Again, this is the Italian style meatloaf.